The Bassmaster Tournament Trail's first journey into New England is a long-awaited trip. More than 20,000 fans will turn out over the 4 daily weigh-ins. The Connecticut Top 100 features the best bassers in the land, but none is more popular than All-Pro Roland Martin.
It's awful close. 11 pounds, 10 ounces. 11 pounds and 10 ounces. Folks, there is a man who came so close. And look at here now. I'm going to show you 2 fish. You run this jet boat. How much water? How shallow water can you run in?
It runs in 4 inches of water. The shallowest water up there is about 12 inches deep, coming over those shoals. I ran my 491 Ranger, that big giant Ranger. I ran it all the way up there. I ruined the lower unit, and I knocked a lot of gel coat off, but I got that big boat up there. But don't try that. That's not a good deal. The worst part's coming down, because you don't have as much control, and the current's running 7 to 8 miles an hour, and you're trying to make turns, and you're sliding and hitting stuff. It's kind of hairy.
What's your partner doing all this time?
He's holding on real tight and wearing a life vest.
All right. Thank you, Roland. Good job. Super.
For Bassmaster
nice
Tour
hand.
fans, there are plenty of photo opportunities. Big bass and big bags. Chet Doffett of Florida weighs in back-to-back daily big bass, worth $1,000 each. This 6-pound, 5-ounce largemouth is proof the Connecticut River recovery plan is paying off for bass anglers. Texas pro Randy Dearman scores the best single-day creel, a 5 bass limit weighing 16 pounds, 5 ounces. But Randy admits it'll be tough to duplicate.
Yeah, I caught just about all my fish on a 7A bomber yesterday, a fire tiger one, and a few of them on a worm, on a riverside big wag worm. But this morning we're just waiting for the water to get right and hope we're there when it does. You can see by the bank, you know, it's by the poles, you can see where the water's down probably 3 or 4 foot, and the high tide, it'll come up that much. It's that much of a differential. When the water moves, it washes bait in or washes it out, and they'll just get on those little old points and stuff where it's going to come around, and they're so used to feeding during that time of the day, that's when they're going to feed. I don't like fishing tidal water. It changes, you know, 2 or 3 times a day. And
at the midway point in the Connecticut Top 100, Denny Brower of Missouri pulls on top with 25 pounds, 5 ounces. Roland Martin is second, followed by Randy Dearman and Randall Romick. Brower has almost a 2-pound advantage, but is far from confident.
Well, basically, I had 5 bites today, and I put all 5 fish in the boat, and I caught the 5 fish on 3 different lures, so obviously I'm struggling, I think, along with everybody else. I do have an area that's got some good quality fish in it, but I'll be danged if I know how to catch them all. It's just real hard fishing right now. You have to be in the right spot with the right tide, apparently.
For late September, the New England weather has behaved neighborly to the visiting Bassmaster Top 100 pros.
I was really kind of hoping for a day like today, because when I was way up the river 2 weeks ago, we had a day like today, kind of drizzly, and it was just a phenomenal day on top water plugs, little tiny torpedoes, little buzz baits, that type of thing. And in addition, even in the afternoon when there was it slowed down, there was a good crawfish hatched in, and now it's a full moon and there's another big crawfish hatch. All the smallmouth I had yesterday just spit crawfish up right and left. So, with a live well full of dead crawfish, what does that say? Jigs, brown crawfish colored jigs are going to be the afternoon deal. So I think I got a couple good patterns to work with.
About the local weather, humorist Mark Twain, who lived near Hartford over 100 years ago, observed, "If you don't like it, just wait a minute." His remarks are still true for weather changes today. Conditions turn sour. A classic nor'easter storms across the Connecticut River Valley with 30-mile-per-hour winds and driving rain, dumping 4 inches in 8 hours. The runoff muddies the river, but the rising water makes the run upstream easier. Picking a path through the rocks and rapids is less of a hairy challenge for the pros equipped with the jet-driven bass rigs. But for our Bassmasters TV camera crew, perched on a wet, slippery, and busy railroad trestle, it's not so simple. Minus a jet drive, our crew is forced to grab shots where possible and follow Roland Martin along the riverbank.
Just a little tick on your line. These smallmouth hit real light because you got such a belly in your line. You've got a little 3/16 ounce lead weight, and it's just a tremendous amount of belly in the line. So when they hit it, you just don't have much contact with the fish at all. It's not going to get to the bottom, so you have to throw somewhat up the current. Okay, we're just about to the good spot now. Okay, that should be it right there. Yes, sir, a big one, too. A big one, boys. That's what it's all about. Come on. Oh, boy. That's a big one. Yes, sir. I need this one bad. Yes, sir. There, boys. About 2.5. I don't know, I'll weigh it. Okay. 2 pounds even. Well, I had 8. That's got 10 pounds now. So 10 pounds of fish is pretty good. Yes, sir. This is it. This is the one. This is the one, boys. Yeah, my keeper fish. I finally keep her close to 3. Close to 3 pounds. Big one. Yes, sir, son. Denny Brower, watch out. The Roland Dolan is closing in.
You bet. Roland Martin is back. 2 years on the sidelines hasn't dulled his angling skills or cooled his competitive fire. At 54, Roland, like good wine, just gets better with age. And he still enjoys the taste of victory. His 18th win, the most by any angler on the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. A 4-day total of 20 bass and 49 pounds 11 ounces, worth $24,000 cash and a fully rigged Ranger bass boat. Denny Brower is the runner-up with 44 pounds 11 ounces, followed closely by Stacy King. Randy Dearman finishes 4th.
Thank you, Roland. Congratulations to you.
Great. Well, listen, this is a testimony of a great restoration effort. It's a great, great fishery, and it's coming back stronger than ever with a good catch and release like we have at this tournament. It's going to stay good.
Right now, it's time for the Pros Pointer, the how-to section of the Bassmasters, brought to you by Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
This is a 3/8 ounce head, and it's kind of a brownish pumpkin-looking jig. It's what they call a spider jig, by the way. And the reason why I went to this color is that I noticed by catching some smallmouth, I found that in the live well, after I caught these smallmouth, they spit up these pieces of crawfish. And all this is like when it was first regurgitated was somewhat similar in color to this jig. And the crawfish, I noticed, are somewhat similar in size to this jig. So what this jig does is it kind of flutters down in the water. Now this tail is a double tail, and actually when it goes down, these tails flutter down and it kind of goes flat. And the way I drift it, by throwing upstream and actually pulling the jig down, letting the current just kind of sweep it down, it was not going against the current, it was going with the current, just kind of floating and almost swimming its way down current. So the only problem with fishing like this is you end up with a lot of slack in your line. You kind of throw upstream, and so now there's a big slack that develops. And then as it drifts down, and as it finally gets down here in the strike zone, which is way down, I always get above the spot. So I'm actually throwing the jig out here, yet the spot I want to fish is down here. The problem with that is that by the time the jig finally gets down there, I have like 30 feet of slack, a big bone line. So when I feel that tick, you have to reel so fast. You need a high-speed reel. And just reel as fast as you can and need a stiff line. Because the real critical thing like happened this morning, I had a couple of big fish jump before I could get the slack out of the line, and the fish jumped off before I could really stick them good. So there's some disadvantages in fishing the drift method like that, but it sure works, and it sure won the tournament.
Tip from the master, Roland Martin, a true Bassmaster, and now 18 career BASS wins. It's great to have Roland Martin back in the hunt. Next week, our Bassmasters TV cameras are going on a mission. Find out how the pros put together a fish-catching pattern on a strange lake. We'll be in the boat with former world champion Ken Cook and two-time tournament winner Tom Mann Jr. as they show you how to find and catch more bass in the spray. Join us. It's a different type of how-to program. For the Bassmasters, I'm Bob Cobb. See you all right here next week.
The Bassmasters has been brought to you by Berkley Trilene, America's #1 selling fishing line because it's super strong. Ranger Boats, still building legends.